Now call to order the town council meeting of January 4th, 2024. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Councilor Greathouse?
Here.
Councilor Steer?
Here.
Councilor Burlingame?
Here.
Councilor Arnold?
Here.
Councilor Worthy?
Here, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just want to wish everybody happy 2024. Open forum for agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak on the agenda, please step to the microphone and state your name. We'll call that nobody in. Okay. Consent items, discussion, interaction, approval of town council minutes. Regular meeting of December 7th, December 21st, 2023. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve the town council minutes of December 7th and December 21st, 2023.
Wait a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
New business, future townwide EMS discussion interaction. Steve, who wants to,
Yeah, so I asked for this on the agenda. It's something that's really been discussed for probably the last 3, 4, 5 years, and I know that the fire departments have talked to this and looked for solutions, but I think it's time for, we want to look at the current situations that we have at EMS, because if you talk to anybody on the fire departments, they'll tell you it's tough to get volunteers, right? I know at least one of the fire departments has like 7 active members. So the other part is, and you'll see the advertisements they have out in front of the districts, is they're looking for EMTs, and it's even difficult to bring those folks into the fold. So ultimately what we need to make sure is that the town is covered. So if someone needs help, they're going to get help. I know the fire districts are working really hard to fill spots to make sure that there's coverage, but I think going forward is we need to engage the fire districts, because they're the experts on this, to come up with solutions for the short term. You know, where are we at now? What do we need to do going forward to make sure that there's coverage for the town? More importantly is, what's the future? What's the future of EMS? And I'm not talking about fire, I'm just talking about emergency services, the rescue. What's it going to look like in the next 5 years, 10 years from now, 15, etc. And really, this is just about discussions right now. How are we going to make sure that, as I said already, that when someone needs help, they're going to get help in a timely fashion. So, and this is not to cast aspersions on the folks who are doing the work now. They're doing everything they can to make sure that everybody in town is safe when they need help. But going forward, it's been a challenge. It's going to continue to be a challenge, and how do we meet that challenge? That's really where this discussion needs to start, in my opinion. And my thought was that we would write a letter to the board of directors for all of the fire districts to see if they wanted to engage in this conversation as far as what does the future look like, and how can the town council help, right? Is there a way that we can help in this situation? I know that one thing that we did was, the fire districts, they came to us looking for a way to help fund emergency communication services. So we've been trying to help them with that. We were able to do that with ARPA funds. But this is a bigger subject. This is a bigger situation that needs to be covered. So this is just a first step. I just wanted to dispel any rumors. I don't want the town taking over anything. I want to have discussions to see what we can do to make sure that when someone needs help, they get help in a timely fashion now and in the future. And what does that look like? It may not look like what it looks like now. So, but we want to be ready to do that and to help the districts in any way we can to make sure that happens as well. So my suggestion to the council is that we write a letter to each of, or an email, whatever that happens to be, to each of the fire districts, to the board of directors. If they want to have a couple members from each, we get together and start having some discussions, or whatever that looks like, and we have a couple members of the council do that as well. We get together and discuss this situation. So So that's all this is about right now, but it is obviously, and I think the fire districts would agree that it's a situation that, it's timely.
And so I agree, it's a pressing need, and we're probably overdue in having this conversation, frankly. So I would support, general talks here with the board of directors or with some members of the board of directors of each district and do some brainstorming and see how this might make sense for everybody, see how the town can help, and make sure everybody in the town is covered with that. I'm certain, I don't know what the numbers are offhand, but it's percentage-wise, there's far more EMS calls. I mean, it's probably 10 to 1 or more.
Well, the request for calls, and you can come up, chief, the request for calls are going up, not down, and they're not gonna go down. And we're just,
Right.
our
But
town is bigger, and
the ratio is far more EMS calls for service than fire calls for service. And I don't know what that is, but I
Well,
know.
you know what and I say that, you know what the problem is? Back when we were all growing up, the majority of us, when you needed a rescue, you called for the rescue because it was truly an emergency. Nowadays, we get calls from everything from an emergency because someone's having a heart attack, to the person that stubbed their toe, they have a nosebleed that they can't stop, could be high blood pressure, but in most cases it's not. And it's just one of those things where everybody calls for the fire department, especially the rescue, because they don't know what else to do. And they haven't been taught, through growing up, they have not been taught that the emergency service is used when it's an emergency. The numbers are, yes, the average is 80% to 20%, 80% EMS to 20% fire. And that's because everybody calls for a rescue, and you see the rescues coming through town. You see them when you go down into the cities. The big thing in the state of Rhode Island that has been here for decades is the Interstate Mutual Aid Program. And it's an agreement that was made by all of the departments in the state that said, if you have a need and we need to assist you, then we will. And so you're gonna see rescues coming into our community, and you're gonna see our rescue go to the other communities when they don't have staffing because the truck is out on another call. We're gonna respond to Smithfield or Situate or Burrillville or wherever. And they're gonna respond into us because that's the nature of the game. There is no perfect system. Fire or police, there's no perfect system when it comes to the way that this has been going on. I've been doing it for 45 years. I can tell you that Smithfield was in the same place back in 1966, and they solved the problem of it by putting on people during the daytime. They didn't cover the weekends and nights, but they put on staffing during the daytime, and they dropped 15 people into 3 stations. And I don't know what it cost them, but they did that because they knew they didn't have staffing. We have that same problem now. Kids don't want to work unless they have a cell phone in their hand. It's that simple. So to get the people into the department to do this, the average per diem person will stay somewhere between 1 year and 4 years. And if you get 4 years out of them, you're lucky. Because why? They're looking to go to somewhere else to their career. Their career is not per diem rescue. Their career is a paid fire department, a nurse, a doctor, whatever. Yeah, whatever. They're looking to move on to something else. Per diem is not the answer to it. It's a Band-Aid on an amputation. We've been doing it now for a long time in this town, and it's been working up until COVID. And then, of course, everybody went on vacation when COVID kicked in and have not returned from spring break. It's that simple. So, I agree. The town should get involved. I will tell you, the 3 districts for the last 6 to 9 months have been meeting with a committee discussing this actual issue, is how do we bring people into this town? Because money's not the answer. Money is not the answer to this problem. We can,
all the money you want.
yeah, we can throw millions of dollars at the problem and it's still not gonna go away. We just have to figure out what it is that's going to bring them in and keep them here.
What is the cost to have somebody trained and send them out per person?
Per person, It depends on what they're looking for, and it depends on what their training already is. I can tell you right now, it cost the District of Harmony $369,000 a year for the per diem shifts that we cover, which is 24/7 basically. This month right now, we've got 97.2% covered. Last year, we had 99% covered, and for the most part, we have about 98 to 99% of our shifts covered. The other departments are doing the same thing, but it's costing an arm and a leg, like we all know, to get these people in. And the funny thing about it, what I just did research on today, is that we're not paying top dollar. We're truly not. We're not even close. I can go up to Massachusetts and get on a Brewster ambulance, and they're gonna pay me $56 an hour from a paramedic.
So what would it roughly be, 10,000, 50,000 a person to get them trained?
It's not only the cost of it, it's the time frame of it.
No, I understand that, but what's the overall price? Is it 100,000 a person?
I can't give you a ballpark figure, I
I
don't know.
mean, for an EMT, it's 150 hours of classroom. For the
Town pays that, or fire district pays
That's
that?
for basic.
But who pays that?
Cardiac, we do.
The town,
We district.
the district pays
District pays.
for that person to go and get the
If-
training?
Yeah.
If they join, and a lot of them come in from schools and stuff like that, trying to get the jobs.
Well, we have the same problem with dispatch.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
gotta pay more money.
The thing with dispatch is that in order to get better dispatchers, you need to have them certified through a testing program and get them trained at a state level, and ours are not trained at a state level, and that's no disrespect to them. They're doing the best job that they possibly can do in the area that they're doing it. And I understand it's a difficult job, but you need to be trained better before you step in the doorway to do the job. And I don't believe that they're trained to the level they need to be to do the job. Because if they left there to go to 911, there's no way 911's gonna take them and say, hey, by the way, you've got a job, without training. So,
I mean, cost factor, it's the amount of time and the cost of the class. The classes are about $1,500 for,
well, paramedic license, to get a paramedic license is 2 years out of your life, first off. And it's roughly, depending on what class you go to, is $10,000 to $15,000. Now, the district, I don't know what the other districts are doing. We have the people, if they wanna take that, they can, and we'll pay them back as they stay. We'll pay them a stipend every year to keep them on the department. But if you're a paramedic, you're not gonna stay on a department that's doing per diem, because you can get paid more to go somewhere else.
How do you break the cycle?
That's a good question.
that's why we're here.
Yes.
So, without going down the rabbit hole, because it's
Yeah.
not my, don't we, I'm surprised to hear the EMS, the per diem aren't we hiring them that are already trained or
Sometimes.
certified?
I just had a gentleman who's 30 years old, who was in EMT basic, who lost his license because he just wasn't using it and didn't recertify, and he just got it back.
Okay.
So I will bring them into the department, I'll bring them into the department if they don't have it, but they've gotta be in a class to get it.
Almost getting there.
Most of
Yeah.
our members in my department, most of our members do come in, they'll take the class, and then I'll reimburse them once they take the class.
Same,
As
that makes
the
sense.
per diem,
I do,
I mean,
yeah.
the per diem, that you're coming from all out of anywhere.
Per diem, yeah, per diem's a part-time job.
Yeah.
It's truly
That's
unfortunate.
all it
It's
is.
a part-time job.
Well,
You can get the people that are not members to come here and work, and then they go somewhere else. And the other problem with the system is that our insurance provider limits you to the hours that you can work. So you can work 25 hours for us, and then you can work 5 hours for Chepachet and 25 hours for West Gloucester. Or we can pay a higher premium per spot, not per person, but per spot, to let them work more than that, but not over 40 hours. So the average person, at least in my department, will work 2 shifts, so 16 hours. But there's some that would work, if we let them work 80, they'd work 80, but our insurance provider will not allow that. And then we'd have to pay them overtime, which we don't pay overtime, time and a half per se. We don't pay them time and a half. So,
And as Rick was saying, is the call volume has been increasing. We just finished up our fiscal year at this point. We had 1,003 runs from my district alone. And 800 of those were rescue calls. So, I mean, you know, at least it's just so time consuming. And you're talking, each one of those runs on the average is, if somebody's coming from home as a volunteer, 2 hours. Usually a minimum of 2 hours. So it's,
I'm all for the town council trying to help us, truly am for that. We're not obviously saying, hey, gee, we're gonna close the door and call it a day. I actually would love to see the town council help us. I'm not sure if you've got any ideas that we haven't already thought of, but why not sit down and have a discussion?
Yeah.
Because you know what, in the end of the day, it's all about making sure that we have the protection that the citizens need and that the citizens should get. So if we can all sit down as a
Nothing
committee.
bad comes out of a
No.
conversation with a couple members of the council, the boards of directors from the 3 fire districts. Maybe we get some input from our EMA director, maybe he may have, I don't know, but I think let's, I'm in favor of starting this conversation for
And in the
sure.
grand scheme of things, if the town decides to give the fire service $10 million, we're good.
Don't hold your breath.
but I mean, that's, you know, that's where we stand. I mean,
No.
we've had conversations about this, and we're trying, you know.
I mean,
Yeah,
I applaud, I know I applaud the efforts of trying, and I think we're just, you know, we keep coming here and you just said it, at the end of the day, it's real simple. It's about the service that can be provided to every resident that lives in Gloucester. I mean, that's,
It unfortunately is going to cost more, and I say that all seriousness, it's gonna cost more. Whether we give raises or we find a different way of doing it, we know that everything costs more. We're paying truly this much when we probably need about yay much. So,
Okay,
just keep that in mind.
all right.
I'm good with
Thank you.
the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And I think it's important for people to understand too, because you have a lot of new people coming into town, and they think it's a paid fire department. That, you know, they might move in from a city that has not, it's volunteers. I mean, we have per diem for EMTs and that way, but we also have 3 distinct fire districts. We have West Gloucester, we have Paget, and we have Harmony, and people don't understand that either. So, you know, that's part of the discussion, help people understand that, look, they're not paid, these are volunteers, these are your neighbors coming out to help you when you're in need. The EMT is a little bit different, but, you know, what does this look like in 5 years? Because, and the chiefs kind of said it, it's, current rate is probably not sustainable, so what do we do? So, I'm happy to chat with the districts. If there's something we can do, that's great. You know, as Council Arno said, you know, I don't think anything bad comes out of the discussion. You know, maybe some good ideas will come out of it, who knows? So, but that's my thoughts. That's why I brought it up tonight.
I agree.
So you want to put on the agenda for next?
We'll just send a letter out,
Can
right?
We
we
send a letter out.
Send a letter out.
compose
send a letter to the board of directors,
Yeah.
Each
from
district, yeah.
Perfect. Who's
see
gonna
if
write
we
it?
can get a
I can
couple
write
of,
something and,
Okay.
you know, get the, okay.
Perfect. We don't have to vote on anything then, right?
I don't think
You
so.
need to vote on it.
Are you going to send out a letter, or are you going to have 2 council people interact, or are you waiting?
Well, we need to send a letter first to see if the board of
want to.
directors would want to from these, so I think that's the first step.
You could vote to send the letter out, if you wanna have them know it's coming from the council.
Yeah.
And we do it.
Perfect.
I'll make a motion to send a letter to each of the fire districts to engage in conversation about the EMS services in town.
Okay, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. B, reimbursement, previous school capital funding, discussion or action. Last council meeting, resident asked where the reimbursement for the elementary school capital repairs was applied in budget when received. The motion in 2016 was as follows. Motion was made by Council Seti that the Gloucester Town Council support the application to the Rhode Island Department of Education for Stage 2 school renovation projects. The renovation projects are part of a 5-year plan to submit to RIDE for the eligibility for housing and housing aid reimbursement. In addition, the town agreed to fund $300,000 annually to the capital fund towards these school renovation projects for each of the 5 years to match the school department's funding of $300,000 per year, covering the same 5-year period. Town also agrees to encumber $975,000 from the current surplus towards the cost of the projects. Terms of this motion are contingent upon RIDE approval of application, which was seconded by Councilor Burlingame. Amended the motion.
Yeah, so, obviously, the way it was presented to us by that resident, the structure of this all makes a lot of sense and a way to, it's almost a, I don't wanna use the, it's a way to maximize our return, okay, on the state reimbursement. So appreciate the clerk's work and going back to notes from December of 2015 as well as 2016. So it looks that the structure is laid out, you know, what their intent was in doing it this way, laid out pretty clearly. And it may be a good lesson for the future, but I think right now we're still waiting on a few answers from both the school committee admin as well as the finance department, this going back in time. So I think this one's sort of a to be continued unless somebody knows something that I don't, but we'd start going back in this, and as we enter budget season, if this structure is likely one we could entertain, you know, moving forward, so.
I'm trying to remember when I was on the committee, on the school committee, we had the plan for it, and I thought that money went back to the schools and we reinvested it.
So
when we got it back from the
yeah,
state.
so that's the big question, right? Was it the town matching the school's capital, and the annual capital investment, when the state reimbursed, and I don't know what the reimbursement then was, probably 40%, I think it's 43% right now.
And here it says 35, so.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Well, it varies based on whether it's a safety, it goes up based on what type of.
The project.
That is going on.
Gotcha. So the structure of it, it's a great idea, and I guess the big question is, did that money go back? Where did that money go back, the reimbursement go back to? The town general fund, the school, and
I think it went back to the schools, because I thought we were reinvesting it back in more projects when I was on the school.
And that
And it
could be.
It kept funding it for years and years, and what happened, because it kept rolling. It kept rolling, that's what I think happened. Maybe he knows a little more.
Thank you, Council President. I did look into this, and obviously I know that Jean did a little bit of research as well. And the reimbursements, the way it works, like most state aid, it does come into the town general fund, right? So it comes through RIPE, comes into the town general fund. Then the town has a set-aside fund for this, so it's the FM fund. And then basically they set aside these reimbursements. The money, the funds themselves are transferred into a bank account at Navigant Bank. We have 2 accounts there for this, for the reimbursements. One is a money market account and the other is a checking account, so when we have to pay the expenses. However, both the set-aside account and the bank accounts are on the town side. So it doesn't go to the school side, but it is set aside for the school through the town. So when you're
it
paying,
comes
so if you
back
have
to
it-
a restricted fund.
That's correct, it's a restricted fund, and when an expense is paid, it's paid out of a checking account, again, from Navigant Bank, but that checking account is under the federal ID number of the town. It's not like it's a school account, but it's strictly for, it's restricted, and it's strictly for to pay those expenses for the maintenance of the schools that obviously were received based on the reimbursement funds. Now, again, initially there was funds put up, the $1.5 million and the $1.5 million. It was a $5 million plan. I think the $2 million gap was really meant to be filled by the reimbursements. But since that program has started, those reimbursements have been, again, that's the process that's been followed.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah, okay.
Now, whether or not that, I believe, and I'm not sure, this may be a question for the solicitor, but those reimbursement funds, I believe, can only be used to reinvest in the schools, the maintenance of the schools. I don't know, it's Title 16, I don't know if you could say, well, some of that can come back based on the match or whatever else. I think that is for, might not be in my purview. What I wanted to try to provide, and again, I know the clerk started, with the helpful information, was that how the what that looked like as far as when the funds come in from the state.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps, but.
No, that does help, and yeah, so it sounds like it would be nice to get clarity to make sure that, I guess one of the big questions on this was, did these reimbursements just go into the town general fund or restricted fund? Sounds like, and it makes sense that they had go back into a town restricted fund, but it only can go back towards this.
It may be more from just an accounting standpoint, because when, again, like all state aid, even the school state aid, right, it comes through the town. So that's how it's received. So from where it goes from there, it's more of a process, but I mean, I think I haven't really did a trailed it as far as the expenses, but from what I can see, obviously all of that reimbursement money, you can track it going into the restricted fund, then into those accounts, and then spent based on the expenses for that project. That Councilman Burlingame mentioned that plan that was created, the 5-year plan that was created when this all came about.
Right, and that plan's been updated, it gets updated also every few years.
Yeah.
For a new 5-year plan.
Yes, if you want to stay in the reimbursement program, it has to be updated, correct.
Okay, sounds like some engagement with this school committee and our superintendent, and as we know what season we're entering here, so, thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much, thank you.
And I think it's just important to note too that this is just for the elementary schools. This had nothing to do with the region. And, we've heard rumors that they're gonna be looking for large amounts of money, but this has nothing to do. This was just to fix our elementary schools, which, I was on the council at the time, and I remember visiting, in particular Fogarty. There was some serious issues there. It needed to be done, and I thought this was a good collaboration between the town and the school district to be able to work together to get that done. And it got done, and
Yeah.
the work that needed to be done.
All these projects, as far as I'm know, are all executed, everything that was laid out in their 5-year capital plan.
The thing is, though, might be a little off topic here, but it isn't. Schools think that we can do this again. I don't know if we can do this again. There's already money in this account, right? So is there
I don't think the schools have the match that they had before. The school had a huge surplus at one point.
at one point, yeah.
And that's why, I think, I was talking to my father about it at one point, and that's why you guys had done it, well, did it back then.
Yeah.
But they don't have that huge surplus anymore. That's been really intentionally
Right.
reduced. So I don't think the school could match.
No,
Okay.
but I mean, there's money apparently, and the way it sounded like that in that restricted account, that's already there to work towards.
But
Does
you
that
might
sound right, Mike?
Yeah, I believe the balance is between 600,000 to 800,000 in that account right now.
Okay, so there's money there.
But again, to Council Burlingame's point, that's earmarked for future projects.
Right.
The plan that they came up with, and then, anything emergency as well. It can be-
Right, so it's not just extra money, it's already,
Yeah.
I'm not saying extra,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah,
it's already kind of
there's money there.
but there's already projects we'd already made projects going forward in the 5-year plan, and that's what that money is assigned
Earmarked
for.
for,
It's
yeah.
committed for those
Right.
going forward projects.
Yeah, as the state.
Well, I
requires
should say,
for
it
the
was, when I
reimbursement.
was on the committee, it was committed, I'm not sure if they've done anything since then.
Well, good.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Boards and commissions, resignation, discussion, interaction, Economic Development Commission, position 7, term to expire 12/31/2024. The clerk's office has received the resignation of Ashley Sargi on 12/20/2023 from Economic Development Commission, effective immediately.
I'll make a motion to accept, with great thanks, the resignation of Ashley Sargi from the Economic Development Commission, position number 7, effective 12/20/2023.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I also would like to send out a thank you to Ashley. Me and her got to work a lot together in the EDC before I came on to the town council, and she is definitely a doer, and she did good things.
Yeah, wish her the best of luck.
Yes. All right, appointments, discussion, interaction, Economic Development Commission. Now, position 7 is open, unexpired term to 12/31/2024. They don't have a recommendation at this time, so if I can get a motion to table, please.
Make a motion to table the appointment to position number 7, economic development, to the town council meeting
Take a
on
second.
January 18th, 2024.
All in favor?
Aye.
Conservation Commission, position 3, 4, and 5, 3-year terms to expire 12/31/2026. The chair has recommended that the reappointment of all 3 of the expired positions, Albert Aubin, Roy Najecki, and Thomas Yanni.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Albert Orban to position number 3, Roy Najecki to position number 4, and Thomas Yanni to position number 5, Conservation Commission, for 3-year terms to expire 12/31/26.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Zoning Board of Review, alternate 1, 1-year term to expire 12/31/2024. Alternative number 2, 1-year term to expire 12/31/2024. Council's received recommendation from the chair of the zoning board. Review Frank Anderson to alternate number 1, Donna DiGiulio as alternate number 2. The previous alternate number 2 does not wish to be reappointed and has forwarded his email to the effect of the clerk.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Frank Anderson as alternate number 1 and to appoint Donna DiGiulio as alternate number 2, Zoning Board of Review, for 1-year terms to expire 12/31/2024.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna recuse myself from the vote for that vote.
Okay, appointments, personnel, tax assessor, appointment, discussion, interaction, 2-year term to expire 12/31/2025. This is an off-year appointment per the Rhode Island Public Law.
I will make a motion to table the appointment of Jessica Parker to the position of tax assessor for a 2-year term to expire 12/31/2025.
We got a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tree warden, annual appointment for 2024, discussion, interaction. This annual appointment, the current tree warden has requested being reappointed for 2024, contingent upon maintenance of the arborist license. Can I get a second? I need a motion.
A motion to appoint Sandra Shepherd to the position of tree warden for 2024, contingent upon the maintenance of an arborist license.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town council correspondence and discussion. The council's received a notice from NAGE DPW Union notifying the council of their intent to begin successor negotiations. The current contract will expire on June 30th, 2024. Typically, the council will have these on the agenda for future meetings to vote on a negotiated item when the notice is received.
Okay.
I have a correspondence from Al in town here, who's building the ice cream shop and doing some construction over there. He would like to be added to the agenda to talk to the town about a dry hydrant. So I'd like to.
Or I believe it was dry hydrants throughout town,
Yes,
not unrelated to his property.
correct.
Well, I mean, he could have come tonight and mentioned it. Oops, sorry.
He's not
He-
in
he
town.
c- You know, well, he can come anytime. It really dry hydrants, that would be fire departments. We can listen to what he has to say, but, you know, it's, we don't necessarily need we can put it on, but
What
he can come at
action,
any
what
time.
action does he want us to take on it?
Yeah.
Listen,
Just a discussion, pros and
Fine.
cons, and does it make sense for the town, which again isn't necessarily under our wheelhouse, it's in the fire district's wheelhouse. But
yeah. So I'll
be
have,
happy to have that conversation.
I'll have him reach out to Jeannie, and he came in, saw me. Department head.
Hold on,
Well, go ahead, Steve.
yeah, a couple more things. was, well, we did have a couple more things. One of them just, again, with the same individual, but this is a conversation with the council is, you know, there's not the trolley car that dates back to, I believe, the 20s that was used in Gloucester, which he had plans to use at the property he's developing. He no longer can use at the property. Had an opportunity to see it, feels like a piece of Gloucester history. That being said, you know, there's a lot of restoration work that needs to be done. But it seems like too big of a piece of history if it's being offered to us to just discard, you know, that opportunity. I don't have any ideas that don't involve money, that taxpayer money that likely shouldn't be, you know, that you know, on a priority list where that would rank. I mean, that's up to the council and voters' discretion, but I don't know if the historical, I mean, this is a brainstorm. It seems like, I don't know if anyone has any ideas on this. I don't even know where it would go if we decided to keep it. You know, but I did want to bring this to the council's attention that this is, and I don't want to speak for him, but it is more or less, it's my understanding, it's being offered to us, to the town. You know, I'm not sure we're in a position to accept it, but if anyone has any light bulb ideas on this, you all ears.
Well, you mentioned the Historical Society. I mean, that's probably the first step, right? They're kind of the unofficial or official guardians, custodians of town history. Maybe that's the first step. Maybe they have some ideas on that. To your point, you know,
I
what
will
we do with it.
I will be attending the meeting, and so I will bring that to their attention. I know Charlie has, he knows some people that are very interested in restoration of historical homes and may very well be interested in this. So I'll bring it to the meeting this month.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, in a perfect world, this somehow could be preserved and
Right.
kept as a town treasure. You know, we're not living in a perfect world, but I think it's certainly worth the discussion, so.
That's great.
Anything else?
I know I have one more thing, but I'm spacing it, so.
Okay.
No.
Well, I have one thing, so maybe it'll come to mind. You know, and I said this at the end of last meeting, but I don't know who caught it because, you know, everybody's gone. But I just wanted to thank all of our town employees, all of our boards and commissions for all the work that they do, because the residents of this town, I don't know if they realize the quality of the employees that we have. First of all, they work very hard, they care about the town, and that, you know, we don't have extra people, we run very lean. So I just wanted to thank them for a very good 2023, and I'm looking forward to a good 2024. And that's the same thing for all boards and commissions. They're volunteers. They volunteer their time to do things to make the town a better place. So I just wanted to thank everybody for that, and looking forward to another good year.
All right. Department heads, anybody in discussion?
Thank you. I just wanted to update the council that the budget board schedule has been created. The first meeting for the budget board is Wednesday, January 10th. I believe that's the 10th or the 11th. I think it's the 10th, I'm sorry. We pushed it back a little bit. There was some people out of work around the holiday time, a lot of sicknesses going around, so we did push it back from the first Monday to that Wednesday. I did want to thank all of the department heads and the work and the time that they spent preparing their budgets. They contacted the finance department. They asked a lot of good questions, and they take it very serious. So, and just even for the taxpayers to know that they do really analyze every piece of their budget. And it's my first go around, and I was very impressed. And also the response from the budget board. I emailed them, everyone got back to me, so, you know, I am looking forward to, again, it's a new experience for me, but I just wanted to update the council as far as when we're gonna be in that process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Boards and commissions? Open forum. Don't all jump up at the same time, okay. All right. Who wants to do the
Well,
ball?
we still do like.
You wanna
3
filibust?
hours to go here.
I got 3
Long time
more.
to filibust, I guess. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And happy New Year, everybody.